한 아프리카 장관급 경제협력회의가 어제부터 부산에서 열리고 있습니다. 아프리카 30여 개 국가의 재무장관들과 경제협력 관계자 수백 명이 참석해 한국의 경제개발 경험을 공유하고 또 경제협력과 관련한 정책들도 논의하는 자리입니다. 아프리카 개발은행 아키노미 아데시나 총재 저희 스튜디오에 모셨습니다. 예, 어서 오십시오. 반갑습니다.
It's very nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming to KBS 부산 뉴스.
Thank you.
Yeah. 일반인들에겐 다소 생소할 수 있는데 아프리카 개발은행이 어떤 역할을 하는 곳인지 먼저 설명 부탁드리겠습니다.
The African Development Bank is Africa's largest financial institution. It's the only AAA rated financial institution in Africa. It has a capital base of $208 billion, and it has a lot of shareholders. Yes. And one of the shareholders, of course, is Korea. And so the goal of African Development Bank, we have a strategy to accelerate Africa's development. So we have 5 areas that we work on. One is to light up and power Africa, which means to provide universal access to electricity to Africa. The second one is to feed Africa, to provide food security all across Africa. The third is to integrate African economies. So we have an integrate Africa. The fourth is to industrialize African economies, just like if we industrialize here. Yeah. And the fifth one is to improve the quality of life of the people of Africa, which has to do with provision of water and sanitation, good health services, and also providing higher education and, of course, employment for the young people. So in a nutshell, that's what the African Development Bank is.
Yeah. 올해는 한국이 아프리카 개발은행이 가입한 지 40년이 되는 해입니다. 한국과 아프리카 간의 협력 관계가 왜 중요하고 그동안에 어떤 발전을 이뤄왔다고 생각하시는지요?
Well, first and foremost, Korea is a very, very important part of the African Development Bank, and I admire Korea for many reasons. The way in which you've been able to pull up yourself from the bootstraps and coming out of poverty and become one of the most dominant economies in the world. So having Korea join us is more than just the money that Korea pays. It's the experience of development that Korea brings to the table, which I really admire the most. And since that 40 years, Korea joined the African Development Bank itself in 1982, but it also joined what we call the African Development Fund, which is a fund that supports low-income countries in 1980.
다음 질문, 경제 관련된 주제로 질문을 드리겠습니다. 자, 지난 7월 한국과 아프리카 국가들이 K-라이스벨트 프로젝트를 체결했습니다. 한국의 농업 기술을 전수를 하는 프로젝트인데 아프리카 8개 나라가 해외 쌀 수입 의존에서 벗어나도록 하겠다는 것인데 아프리카 개발은행이 지향하는 목표와 이것이 어떻게 부합한다고 보시는 건지 말씀 부탁드립니다.
Yeah, the K-Rice Belt Initiative, right? It's a great initiative, and I applaud the government of South Korea on this initiative. Africa imports a lot of rice, and but Africa should not be importing a lot of rice. Africa has 65% of all the uncultivated arable land left in the world to feed 9 billion people in the world that's going to come. So what Africa does with agriculture will determine the future of food in the world. Its main strategy is to feed Africa. And we are investing $25 billion as a bank in trying to do that. And one of the areas we are actually focusing on is rice. And we have a new rice program, which is called it's Reward, which is Rice for West Africa Development Zone. And that is a $650 million program. So when I met with the Minister of Agriculture of Korea, South Korea yesterday, we agreed that, look, we should really come together because, really Africa should become a breadbasket of the world. And we are determined to make sure that that is the case. So it's a lot of partnership in terms of technology, a lot of partnerships in terms of milling technologies, how to process and add value to rice, and also in irrigation, which is very important as well. So it's a perfect fit for us. And I look forward to the African Development Bank and the government of Korea being able to announce something significant together for the Korea-Africa Summit next year.
한 아프리카 장관회의 관련 질문 드리겠습니다. 한 아프리카 경제협력 장관회의가 2년 만에 개최됐는데 코로나 때문에 5년 동안 개최되지 못했습니다. 그만큼 의미가 더 깊지 않을까 싶은데 이번 회의에서 어떤 의제들이 논의가 됩니까?
Well, we're delighted that we can meet actually physically this year because we couldn't meet because of the COVID-19 situation. So you got 33 ministers of finance that are coming from across Africa. So it's very, very huge. And so for this particular one is to have a lot of dialogue post-COVID about a number of things. On our agenda will be about discussing energy, renewable energy in particular, how we're going to work in making sure that we can accelerate access to energy in Africa, not just for electricity, but also for clean cooking, so that people can cook. The other part of that, of course, is agriculture. How do we unlock the huge potential of agriculture in Africa all across our member countries, and lessons and experiences from Korea that can inform that. Now, the other thing that we will be discussing as well as a theme is the whole issue of knowledge. I actually admire a lot of the capacity that I see here in Korea. This afternoon, I was at the Samsung Biologics, in Seoul, and I was quite impressed with that. So because we are also investing in the pharmaceutical industry. So some of this issue of knowledge, policy on technology and innovation will also be part of it.
자, 한국 방문이 세 번째라고 들었습니다. 부산도 5년 만에 다시 찾으셨는데 부산이라는 도시가 어떻게 기억되고 있습니까?
Oh, well, I love coming to Busan. We had, in 2018, we had our annual meetings of the bank, the African Development Bank in Busan, and it was a huge success. We also have a lot of partnership with the city of Busan in terms of the use of drones, smart agriculture, that is actually being used now in Tunisia and in other places. So that's very, very good. And I think the other opportunity that we all look forward to in this discussion right here in Busan is the opportunity to learn how Korea puts together this critical infrastructure. I take a look at it. You don't have steel, but you are the largest builder of ships in the world. Yeah. And so there's something about that. You have 3 ports here, great, well-integrated ports. And so there's an opportunity not only just to talk among ourselves, but also to be able to visit and see how Korea has been able to move from just producing rice in the early 60s and early 70s to moving up the value chains into hard manufacturing and also now into smart electronics and all of that. And so I think it's going to be quite an experience for many of the people to come here and see what you are doing now in semiconductors and all of that.
내년에 한 아프리카 정상회의가 한국에서 개최가 됩니다. 한국에게 아프리카는 또 아프리카는 한국에게 서로에게 어떤 존재가 될지 많은 분들이 주목을 하고 있는데 총재님께서 갖고 계신 발전 가능성 어떻게 보고 계십니까?
Well, I think that we have a very good relationship, but I think we can do a lot better. When you look at the bilateral trade between Korea and Africa, yes, it's been rising, but don't forget, it's only 2% of Korea's total trade and investment in the world that goes to Africa. So I want to see that change. I want to see a lot more Korean companies investing in Africa. And beyond just the big companies that we are used to, beyond the Daewoo's of this world, or Samsung of this world, or the Hyundai's of this world, there's a whole range of areas that we can invest in. We would like to see a lot more investment in agricultural value chains. And I think that Korea should invest with us in the development of what we call special agro-industrial processing zones. These are new economic zones we are developing all across Africa.
감사합니다. 오늘 말씀은 여기까지 듣겠고요. 총장님의 방문으로 한국과 아프리카의 교류가 더 활성화되고 그리고 한국과 부산의 저력을 꼭 기억해 주시길 바라겠습니다.
Yes, very much so, and I look forward to coming back again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
아프리카 개발은행 아키노미 아데시나 총재와 함께 얘기 나눠봤습니다.